Hi guys, welcome back to the Herstoryinsneakers Podcast, where I'll be introducing you to the waviest females in the sneaker industry, community and all things related. Today we have somebody with us who is championing for women in sneakers, whilst also running a very successful social media for Laced. We have the wonderful Titi Finley.
Hi.
So I know who Titi is. I think a lot of you already might know who Titi is, but just in case you don't, do you want to quickly give a brief synopsis of who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Titi. I'm from Scotland, now living in London. About 4 or 5 years ago, I got like proper into sneakers because I started working in the sneaker industry through various roles in social media. And through that, I started to see lots of little pockets of inequality happening across the board, whether it's like in industry-wide in the community or in like sizing and product. So I decided to just start making these graphics that shared kind of statements of, I guess, how I was feeling about sneaker culture, and they just kind of went off a little bit and everyone was kind of relating to them. So that's probably where people know me from, I guess.
Yeah, wasn't a rocker.
Yeah.
So before we get into kind of the whole graphics and what people know you for now, so you mentioned you got into sneakers more so 4 or odd years ago.
Yeah.
But kind of where did it start? What was the shoe that kind of ignited that for you?
The shoe that started it for me was the Air Max 95. It was just a stone white colorway. But I just remember going into JD Sports, and I'd been kind of getting into sneakers before then, I think, but I was working in restaurants at the time. I literally had no money. I was on the dole as well.
Was this after you'd moved to London?
Yeah. So I basically...
So very inspired to get a 110.
So obviously moved to London, and when I moved to London initially, that was when like Supreme and Palace were just about to get like crazy hype. You could still go into Supreme without queuing. It was like that whole kind of time when the basement was just kicking off, and like my boyfriend was in the basement, and like just kind of through him I started seeing like all this stuff, and I like on Instagram and everything, I was just loving London streetwear culture and sneaker culture, and I obviously like didn't have the money to participate in it at the time, so I kind of just enjoyed it from afar, I guess. And then I remember when I finally had saved up enough money, and I went into JD Sports, saw this pair of 95s and got them, and that was it for me. It was just like instant love. But I think there definitely was like growing up and looking back on my childhood, like there was like nods to like me loving sneakers like as a young person. I think even things like when I was at school, like my bedroom, I would have like shoes on my shelves rather than books. Like it was like this love of footwear was always there, and used to always like design shoes when I was younger, and didn't even think much of it. I never thought like that I would get into sneakers. So yeah, it's quite funny just looking back now that I'm like so obsessed with sneakers. I'm like, where did it come from? I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing all of these little bits connect now, and it's interesting. So
how different would you say that London street culture was to you?
Well, there is one. I feel like in Scotland there is no street culture. I grew up in a really small village in Scotland, and there was nobody into that kind of thing. Like barely anyone was even into fashion. It was just very like backwards kind of way of life. I think in the bigger cities like Glasgow, there's a huge culture, especially Air Max culture there, but like I wasn't really part of that. So again, it really never got to me until I moved to London, and I was like, wow, this is sick. So,
have you seen it kind of change or progress over time now, like when you go back?
Yeah, I mean, now in Scotland there is definitely, I mean, because the joy of Instagram is that like everyone knows about sneakers now, so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely become like a bigger thing. And you know, like End Clothing is in Glasgow now. They do have like some, I think they've got a size there as well. They've definitely got a little bit more culture, and obviously Hannon and Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely happening a little bit more, but even when I go back to the village that I'm from, like people wouldn't understand. Like they still are back like 10 years ago. So yeah.
Not much progression.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I guess there's two parts to your story. There's like the sneaker side, the sneakerhead side, and then the social media side. Do you want to tell the people a bit more kind of what you do now and back to how kind of your career in social media started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess throwing it back to uni, I went and did fine art at uni, which is the most pointless degree anyone could ever do, like literally. But I wanted to be a painter, and I still do painting and like art and stuff. But when I graduated, I decided to move to London on a whim. My friend from school had a flat here, and she was like, "Do you want to just move down? I've got a room." And I was like, "Okay, sure." My dad was like, my parents were both like, "What are you going to do? Like, you don't have money. You like, you need to get a job or something." So I was like, "Oh, I'll figure it out. It'll be fine." So moved down to London with no money and I didn't know anyone basically. I knew like family. One person, no family, like literally just came down here as this like scared little kid essentially. I mean, I was like 21, I think, but it was, and obviously like after a week I was like living on like peanut butter on toast. I was like, I really need to get a job.
Life again.
Like, I was like, yep, I can't afford to eat. So I got a job at a restaurant, a tequila bar, and essentially just worked in restaurants for nearly 3 years actually when I first moved here. And obviously I was in my mid-20s, and like all of my friends had gone off and gotten jobs like normal people do after uni, and kind of had plans, and they were all in kind of like very secure jobs, and I was working in restaurants, and I just like, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do, but I was like, I really want to get into like the fashion streetwear kind of scene, but I don't really know how to do it because there's no resources online, there's no courses that you can do, and a lot of people who are in these industries have gotten into these industries because they know someone, or they've grown up in London and they've grown up with that culture. So I kind of just never thought it was going to happen for me. And I think it got to a point where I was working in this one job. It was like an Indian street food restaurant, actually. It was pretty fun, like great food. And the girl that was running it was super young as well. And she was super inspiring to me. And she and I basically were about to go into business together and own this street food restaurant together. And I basically I realized I was working like ridiculous hours, feeling a bit depressed, and my boyfriend sat me down. He was like, "You're not happy doing this." He was like, "Don't commit to this business. Like, this is not what you're meant to be doing." And it was just like this big wake up call for me. And I was like, "Fuck, I can't." Like, sorry for swearing. I was like, I can't go on like this. So at this time, I'd obviously been like on Instagram and everything. I'd been following this fashion journalist. Who she had like a website where she interviewed like famous people within the fashion and streetwear industries and found out about what they did before they got into that job. So it kind of like made me realize that these people hadn't come from like money or anything either. Like they'd like worked their way up and gotten loads of opportunities or whatever.
Is that Steph?
No, it's a woman called Catherine Ormerod.
Right.
She was very much like, she wrote for like glossy magazines and stuff, but I just liked that she was approachable. And I basically was like, do you know what? I'm just going to email her and see if she would take me on as an intern for free and teach me like in exchange. And she got back to me straight away. She was like, "Yep, I'll take you on." And from there, she then gave me, I remember because she asked me to meet her at Soho House, and I'd never been there before. I walked in, I was like, I literally had like no money at that time, and I was like, I'm the poorest person here. And I was like, I hate being here. I just felt like so out of place. But like the fact that she'd taken the time to actually like believe in me and like give me this opportunity, my confidence just shot up, and I was like, I think I can actually do this. So from there, she kind of gave me a couple of connections within like magazines, and so I got an internship at the Sunday Times Style and Harper's Bazaar, which were both pretty stressful. But man, I got to go to Fashion Week and learn loads about like the fashion side of things.
Was it predominantly the clothing?
Yes. So this was sneakers still hadn't, at this point, I'd bought the pair of Air Max 95s and I was very much into sneakers, but like I also wanted to be a fashion journalist and write about sneakers and streetwear as a journalist. Okay, so I thought if I got a job with this magazine or did like internships, that would lead me there. So that was the first kind of thing that I did. And then as well as this, because I'd quit my job at this point, and then I started like doing like 1 day a week waitressing, and I was on the dole and then interning. And I also found like a couple of other people who were looking for like an assistant. So one of them was Sarah Aquasombi, who's this, she has like a clothing business now, but she used to do like teach people how to like have a successful online business or whatever. So I learned how to do social media through her. And then another girl called Willa Burton, who owns the Braid Bar in Selfridges. She needs someone to rebrand the company, and I do graphic design. Like I can do graphic design as well. I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but my boyfriend is a designer, so he's taught me. But yeah, so I ended up rebranding the whole of the Braid Bar and getting to do like a lot of design stuff and kind of social media stuff. And through all of these different opportunities, I kind of spent like a full year just taking any opportunity that excited me. I was like, even if it's not directly connected to sneakers, I'm learning something about the industry that I kind of want to be in.
Yeah.
And through that, I kind of accidentally fell into social media. And after a year, I ended up getting a job at ASOS. And my first job was like writing the Instagram captions for them, which I can't believe that's even a job. But yeah, it was just
your,
like
job title, like
junior copywriter. Yeah, but it was for social. So all I did was write Instagram captions, which was great. So much fun. And then obviously like I learned more and like moved up in the company. And
I love that you're like, obviously my job wasn't just right.
Yeah, like I did more than just captions. Started to learn how to create content and just like run social media accounts. So my boss, I got to a point where my boss was like, I've got this opportunity for you to be promoted. Like, is there any particular area you want to move into? And I was like, actually sneakers. And I'd said this in my interview at ASOS. I remember I'd said to my boss, like, I really want to move into like the sneaker world and write about sneakers and cover sneakers and everything. And at the time, ASOS had like a specific account for sneakers. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like Looped or something. I can't remember. But I'd initially joined hoping that I would then get to move on to that sneaker account. And so it had always been there. And I think everyone at ASOS knew that I was like obsessed with sneakers. So it just became like a natural transgression. And then I got a job. I got to move up to taking care of all the sneaker content, and that then allowed me to work with Nike, Puma, New Balance, Adidas, all the big brands.
Yeah.
And basically I would be like a gatekeeper for the ASOS channel. So I would consult on content that they would want to push, because we did like partnerships with them all the time. So if they wanted to do like a shoot, I would be there saying like, this wouldn't work for our socials. Like we need to do this, this and this. Got to go like on some amazing shoots and trips with them and make these connections at these brands, which was amazing. And then after doing that for like a year, I got headhunted to take over social for Laced, and that's where I am now. So sorry, that was such a long-winded story. I feel like I just like to tell everyone every step because it's important to know. I think it can be done.
Do you think people assume that this just fell on your lap?
Probably, but like that's why I try and speak about it so much, because I think so many other people that I looked up to in the industry would never ever say how they got their job, and it's almost like this protectiveness of like, I'm not going to tell anyone how I did it so that they can't do it. And like I found that so heartbreaking for me, because I was like, I just want to like learn and know, so I always try and like be honest about the full journey. And
I guess it is also because, as you said, it is a lot of like who you know.
Absolutely.
So some people genuinely couldn't tell you about the story.
Exactly.
But so going back to when you were at ASOS, were you like the main person that was just sneaker obsessed?
Yeah, literally. I feel like it was me and Coco Mel, who also worked at ASOS, and that's how Coco and I became friends, because we were like the two people into sneakers who worked on the floor, because she was in sort of a similar kind of department as me. And we kind of like clocked. I think it was one day she was on the sneakers app trying to get a shoe, and I was like, oh, like what shoe are you trying to get? And I was like,
someone at 8 a.m. and you're like, you're on sneakers. I understand. And
that's how we became friends. So super funny. And then obviously Steph Hulbert Thomas as well. So she worked, that's how her and I kind of got to know each other, because she I think she was like Reebok and Adidas, I can't remember, but she was like their kind of person that they would go to at ASOS, and she would organize all the projects. So like me and her were on quite a lot of shoots and stuff.
It's so
together,
interesting that the sneaker people were female.
Yeah, exactly. It's so interesting. I mean, there were some guys, but they weren't particularly like, I wouldn't say they were particularly knowledgeable. They were just like into sneakers kind of. So it's like, I feel like my whole sneaker journey has been very much like surrounded by women, which is great.
Yeah.
So
that's like the perfect journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So throughout all of that, so your career and then your sneakers, and we've kind of got to see how the two merged. What would you say kind of fueled the fire for you to start championing and pushing the message for women in sneakers?
I think it's hard. I feel like there was lots of different little components that started it, but I knew when I got the Nike shoe that was like a perfect time to kind of talk about everything that I'd been kind of feeling, and I was like, I want to make this shoe for women in sneakers. Sorry,
just to stop. Just for the people that don't know, when you say the Nike shoe,
yes.
Also, you always make me feel bad because I say Nike.
Do you? I will
you
say Nike. Yeah.
Like when we were on the live together,
Yeah.
I was like, God, Titi, just let me say Nike in peace. So Titi last year, as one of Nike by You, their workshop, she was one of 20 guest designers, along with myself. That's how Titi and I got introduced to each other. So big up Nike, big up Nike London. But today we're here to talk about you. So you got given the opportunity. It was to make a shoe to represent Unseen London and what that kind of means to you as a designer. It featured DJs, artists, photographers, and just myself, which is, I wasn't essentially doing anything creative at the time. I was just online posting pictures of my shoes. So you chose to do an Air Max 90. Yeah. And that in and of itself had a message to do with females in the community and empowering women and kind of speaking on the inequalities. So with that introduction, I will let you take it away and explain kind of why you chose to make the shoe in particular colorways and kind of what was behind the message for you.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, it was like the perfect time to talk about all of this stuff. So for me, the storytelling was like the biggest part. I actually really wanted to do an Air Max 95 because of the love for the 95. But the colorways weren't like, I feel like the colors were quite muted and I wanted to do something quite bright. As you can see, I'm like very much into the bright colors. So yeah, they had like a better selection of colors on the Air Max 90 and I still obviously love that shoe so much. So yeah, so the storytelling was the biggest part, and I think like where I started was like going into the archives of like Air Max 90 colorways or Air Max 1 colorways that I'd like loved in the past and realized that they only came in men's sizes. So I was like, right, I need to like kind of incorporate these somehow and use that as inspiration, but this shoe's obviously going to be a full size run for everyone. So it was the Air Max 1 Watermelon and the Air Max 90 Spruce Lime. Those two kind of mesh together, I guess, to make the colorway that I came up with. But then I also really wanted to play on like the mudguard and kind of like I made that all white, so it kind of looked like this weird, I think like Sacai did that with their Air Max 90, kind of they like raised up and they did that sort of like solid mudguard and midsole kind of vibe. So again, another female influence. But the white space on it was basically to represent the space that there is for women to fill up in sneakers. So that was kind of the idea behind the actual design of it. And then on the tongue, I put spirit and drive on each tongue because those are the two qualities that I think got me to where I am. I think just wanted everyone to have that reminder, I guess. And then in terms of like the market, because we obviously had to market our shoe as well. So I basically pulled together, like I did like a video of like some of my friends, girlfriends in sneaker culture and like what their experience was as a collector.
Should you shout them out?
Yes. So we had Calypso Barnum Bob, who was a sneaker buyer. She was actually a Nike buyer at ASOS and is now, I think she's a life coach now. She's gone and done like, she's wow. Like just a ray of sunshine. She's great. Who else do I have? Coco, obviously. Coco Mel. Who is
Wake Earthquake.
Yes, I had Danny, Wide Awake Earthquake, who is like huge. Did this Tom Sachs wear tester thing as well, which was sick. Who else did I have? Julia. Who we love, the basketballer, also lives in Putney. She lives like around the corner from me. So Julia was amazing. And I had Kim Pham as well, who does Crep City, I think.
Crep City Women.
Yeah, so I think that was it. Have I forgotten someone? If I've forgotten someone.
Did you have Kitty in there?
No, I didn't have Kitty, I don't think. It was only like, I think that was it, from what I can remember. But yeah, so I had us all basically, did this video of all of us telling our story. And then as well as that, I had, I made this graphic, which was where kind of my graphics started. So initially it was just supposed to be like a kind of online poster to go with the shoe. And it said sneaker culture is often seen as a boys club. We're changing that. And it was supposed to be like kind of a statement from all of us females and making it about not just me, but everyone, and something that everyone could share. And it got shared like, I think over like 2,000, 3,000 times. I can't remember. It was crazy numbers. And I was like, oh, this is like, people want this stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of where the graphics came from afterwards. I was like, I feel like we need more things like that for people to share. So yeah, that was it. Sorry, again, I'm such a rambler.
No, it's fine. But yeah, but the graphic in and of it, I mean, I feel like you played it down a bit. It was it looked like it could have been an official Nike advert.
Yeah, I used the Futura Nike font, which it's classic.
That's why I make my stuff on Canva and she makes her stuff
well, I do have a professional graphic designer as a boyfriend who also helps with these things. Fiance. I know, sorry. It's only because we only got engaged like a year ago. I just find it so weird saying that. I feel so grown up. Thank you.
But yeah, awesome. What was the response like then? So obviously people shared it a lot, but do you feel like the response after that, it's, you know, do you feel like it led to any kind of change?
Definitely. I mean, since then, so I think the shoe itself obviously had a great response, but I think what I did afterwards with the graphics and kind of continuing on that story is what then led to some real change, because I think it wasn't until I did the graphic that said we don't need women's exclusives, we need inclusive sizing. That graphic was when it popped off properly, because then Vogue and High Sobriety both covered it, and it was like major platforms were like actually taking note, and because of that brands started listening.
Size inclusivity has obviously been a huge part of kind of your message and your journey. Obviously you're a smaller size wearer. So you recently wanted the Persian violets, which you have been talking about since from before I even knew about you. So how do you feel about the fact that they didn't drop in your size on sneakers? Sorry, I'm not laughing because I find it funny. I'm just laughing because she's been talking about them for so long and it's a known thing within the scene. So did you get your shoe?
No. So the Persian violet is my grail, and I know it's like not a hype shoe in itself, but it's a shoe that like it came out in 1991, the year I was born. I've loved it for years. I've been trying to get a pair for years, and obviously when I found out they were coming out this year, I was like, yes, this is my chance to finally get it. And only to go on the sneakers app and like got a paraleague to get them, and found out it was only men's sizes. Like my heart just sank. I was just like, I know this is just a shoe, but like it's so typical that like the one shoe that like there's, and it's the same. It's happened with like I think the Jordan 1 high neutral grey, like when that came out it was only men's sizes. There's been so many that all like women want and we haven't had access to, and it's just like just unfair. It feels, it's like I think more people who wanted the Persian violet were women, to be honest. So yeah, it just baffles me why they, especially such an iconic shoe. I think the Persian violet is like, the BW is like one of the OG Air Maxes. Like that's a shoe that everyone should have a chance to be able to own it. And the reason they're bringing back all the OG Air Max silhouettes is because they're giving like that next gen a chance to own that shoe. And to exclude women's sizes or to exclude smaller sizes just like baffles me. So yeah.
Do you think that obviously we talk about size inclusivity, but then it's like you have to remember that these brands are just businesses, and then you have the whole business economics of releasing shoes in certain size runs, and you know the cost of production and advertising that in countries or cities that predominantly those sizes, there's not that great percentage of the population. So with all that considered, do you feel like it will actually change?
It's hard. I do think it is going to change, and I know that they're working on it behind the scenes, but it's like you said, it's a business and it's a process that they've been doing for however many years. Like they can't just change it overnight. But what I just wish is like that we would stop seeing these women's exclusives that nobody actually really likes, and then putting effort into creating those products when they could be putting effort into actually like solving the issue that we really want solved. But again, it's like so hard because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at Nike. Like I just hope that, and I know that I've had like many conversations with people at Nike, and I know that they are working on it, but whether it happens like I don't know tomorrow, I don't know. I guess it's gonna take time.
Sorry to cut you.
No, go ahead.
I guess that's kind of the main thing that's annoying. It's like if you're not going to release every shoe in and also give us the opportunity to buy it in our size, at least give us exclusives that we want to wear that are wearable. It's always like exactly the women, whoever they asked, they love it, and then the general population gets it, and we're just like, which women love this shoe? Like,
literally
don't get it.
It's bizarre, and it's a really hard one as well because there obviously is a market for these shoes. Like the Dunk Disrupt is a great example. Like there are a lot of women, like I think like sort of the soul women's kind of vibe where it's like you're maybe not quite a sneakerhead, but you're also like sneakers, and you're maybe like, I feel like people who maybe shop more like Office for their sneakers or ASOS for their sneakers, like that is the market where those people would love the Dunk Disrupt. And I've seen people rocking that shoe and they love it, and that's great. But I think it's like having that consideration, especially for like it's hard to say, because I know that people want those shoes.
Yeah.
But it's also frustrating that they make it a women's exclusive and they make it just for women. It's like the Jordan 3 Rust Pink that came out. That's another good example. Like that was a women's shoe, but everyone that I knew that wanted that shoe was a guy. And it's like a pink shoe could be worn by anyone. It's like, you can make this shoe, but why don't you just make it inclusive and like make it for everyone, so that if women want to buy it, fine. If guys want to buy it, fine. But there's just so many moving parts to it that's like, I don't know how.
That's what guys are always like, women get the best colorways. And
yeah.
Well, yeah, but you haven't been sold pink your whole life.
Exactly.
That's why you think it's amazing.
Like, yeah, it is exactly that. It's like super frustrating. Because I don't ever want to be like, I don't know, men sort of shaming men for wanting the shoe. And
okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like like they've obviously had it really good, but yeah, it's hard.
No, I mean, definitely, like even on the whole size inclusivity thing, it's like there's guys that also they can't get their size if they're a smaller size. Yeah, so it's like they're excluded, or females that have the bigger foot can't get certain sizes. So it works kind of on both ends.
Definitely.
I just think obviously the whole concept of doing men's and women's releases in this day and age where we're kind of disposing of those titles.
Exactly.
I wonder how long that's going to continue. I feel like soon they have brands are just going to have to start doing full size runs.
Absolutely.
I feel like it'll get too political.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's like nobody conforms to that like binary gender anymore. Well, people do, but like it's like very much moving into a fluid concept, and like everybody dresses differently no matter like what their gender is. So they definitely need to get to grips with that. And it's like, you see like Yeezy, for example, like Yeezy's completely unisex, full size run and everything that they do. Not that they're like my favorite shoes, but like they're able to do that. They so it's like, why can't Nike do that? Like stop making specific men and women product, especially when it's quite often wrong for like what people want. It's even like going into a store. It's like when you go into like JD or something, it's like, or Nike Town, it's got like the women's floor, and it's just like, what if you were walking around the store and you see a shoe that's like a women's shoe, but you're a guy, and you're like, oh, I can't buy this now because I'm
I genuinely don't go to the women's section.
Yeah, me neither.
In sneaker shops.
Yeah,
not for clothing. Yeah, not for shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I wear like men's cream.
Yeah, I know, this is the thing. It's like pastel colors. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah. But I think it's obviously, you touched on the point of it, the whole sneaker community in and of itself, it's expanding to include kind of casual people that just like are more of a casual shoe to wear. Yeah. And obviously the actual sneakerhead. So it's definitely difficult to appeal to everybody. You're never going to. And it's like the community is expanding. Yeah. So it is very difficult for brands, I will say, to have a fine line between
definitely
kind of product that's going to appeal to people that are going to appreciate classics. Yeah. And that's not, because if they do just start retroing everything, it's not going to sell. Yeah. It's not going to be profitable. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, they're not just making shoes to make us happy. Yeah. They're trying to get a bonus.
Literally. Yeah.
But do you think that, I mean, this might be a controversial topic, but do you think that brands are approaching the right people in terms of like social media, just influencers and stuff, to promote their shoes?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really tough one. I've had this conversation a few times before, and I don't really know how the best way is to say it.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Yeah, because
not trying to do a cancel Titi.
Yeah, I know, literally. I think it is like, I'm very much against like gatekeeping and giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. Like anyone can be into sneakers at any time. Like you can come into sneakers like yesterday and be like an authentic fan of them, or you can be into sneakers for like this month, but then when everyone moves on to like something else, you can be on something else. Like it's very much like a personal journey for everyone. I think right now a lot of what we're seeing, like influencers that are being gifted, a lot of the time it is like this sort of, I don't even know how to say it. It's like
be aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically pleasing. It's the long nails, the not that that's a bad thing, but it's like the
'Cause they
kind
can
of
match
like
the nails,
the manicure matching the sneakers, which is, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it is appealing to a certain like demographic, and there's not much consideration for like other types of sneakerheads or like even ages. And yeah, I think it's like a very one-sided kind of representation of sneakers is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so it's like, I just think there's not much diversity essentially with like who they're getting to promote them. Yeah, I don't really know how else to say it.
I mean, yeah, I have a similar opinion. I do think that the wrong people, not that it's in any way their fault, but it's kind of you're allowing yourself to be put in a position where you can have a conversation with brands about things that you're not necessarily aware of.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, by no means is their fault. They've got themselves into an amazing opportunity. It's just unfortunate because it's not necessarily about numbers. It's like I know people that know every single Air Max 1 that's ever been released. Yeah. But you're not going to go on Instagram and see that they have 100k followers. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. But they could offer you so much if you just opened the door to have a conversation with them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think that's a great thing, obviously, about Nike when they did their workshop last year, and obviously you were a guest designer, because now it's like they managed to build a connection with you, and they do have somebody that it's like you are very facing, like you're somebody that is facing the community, and women obviously come and speak to you, and you know kind of their issues from your graphics and your comments, and just the conversations that you have, and then you can kind of go and actually relay that back, as opposed to somebody that is just can sell. Yeah, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Get the likes in.
Yeah, get the likes, get the engagement, and get the sales, but necessarily you're not changing anything. To do with.
There's no impact. It is literally, it's like the vanity metrics. I mean, you're obviously making money for them, and this is the thing. It's like, it's retailers, I think, more than brands that who they choose for, and it is literally, it's just like what's going to do well on Instagram is going to sell. So yeah, I don't think there's ever like a deeper thought that goes into it. It's more just about the numbers and the likes from that point of view. But then when it comes to like their richer pieces of content, they should really be doing stuff with community members, regardless of how many followers they have, because community members are the ones with the knowledge. And I think that's something that's so valuable. Like, it doesn't matter how many followers they have. So
well, speaking of community stuff, so Nike recently did the Kick Snails and Grails. Was that the name? That was the name,
I think it was Kick Snails Art.
Oh, Kick Snails Art.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a very long-winded title for an event. I must say.
Kick Snails Art and you. And you were there doing some artwork. Yeah. And I don't know what to call the post.
Yeah, it was sort of like
it was like an art exhibition.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like an installation sort of, but yeah, it was fun.
How did you find that? And do you think that that kind of different other brands and more stuff like that is needed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for me, it was like a really nice chance to connect with like loads of community members, or like people that I've known for like the last 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, we met for the first time.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I was like seeing an old friend, even though we like, it was the first time we'd met in person, but it was just nice to like see everyone. And the piece of art that I created was essentially a kind of a way to bring everyone together. So obviously it was a women's only event, which, just to say, like, to cut into that, is I thought was a bit problematic in itself, because it's like, if you create like a women's only event, it's just, you're not leading by example in terms of inclusivity. You're giving women, like, there was like tons of guys outside like sending like their mums and girlfriends in, and it completely like defeated the whole purpose. But at the end of the day, it was a really nice way for all the women to kind of connect. But so the piece of art was essentially like a drawing that I'd done of a dunk, and I gave everyone like Posca pens to draw on it and write a message for women in sneakers, like an inspirational message, or to their younger selves or whatever. So at the end of the night, it was this like piece of like loads of advice and inspirational messages and stuff from other women in the community. So I really liked that side of things. I thought it was a nice way to kind of like bring us all together, and it was auctioned off at the end of the night as well.
Yeah,
so.
who won it? Was it Tash?
Tash, yeah. She got it. I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do with it, because it's so big. Like, it's not exactly the kind of thing you want to have in your house, but it's a nice memory, I guess, if anything. So
no, it was really cool, because I'm in the Sneaker Sisterhood group chat. Shout out Sneaker Sisterhood. And a lot of the girls cleaned up. They got, because you were auctioning off a lot of art pieces. like the Aleli Jordan 1.
Yeah, actually it was like 3 girls in Sneaker Sisterhood, I'm sure, won the
and they were like,
prizes.
I won this. And I was like, oh.
And it was a complete accident as well.
Girls.
I like shoved my hand in and like picked random things, and I was like, oh god, these are all like friends with each other, and I know them all, it's gonna look rigged, but it wasn't. So.
But then it's like, a lot of the girls that were there just because.
I'm glad it was nice. Yeah, I'm glad that they got them. So.
Yeah, I feel like that. Well, we can talk about this. How do you feel that the female community is? Do you think it's close knit? Do you think the people support each other? Do you think people don't support each other? Spill the tea.
I think there's 2 sides to it, definitely. I think it was funny because I was speaking to a girl from the US a few weeks ago, and she was like, everyone that I know that's like making a change in sneaker culture, like a positive change, they're all from London. And I was like, it's because we all know each other. Like we're all working on this common goal. We all have like this dream to like make it an inclusive place and like better for women and better for people in general. And I think in that sense has been amazing. And all of the people that I know within the culture, we all like get on so well, and it is a really nice supportive place. I would say that there are some bad eggs, and I'm not gonna like name names, but I think there is some like gatekeeping, and like I personally find it like a bit problematic when people. It's really hard because there are like people who are just sneakerheads at the moment, and then they're not going to be in a couple of years, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But it's like to target or to like speak about those people behind their back, or to say like, oh, they weren't into this shoe like 2 years ago and now they are, like making fun of them for it. It's like, so what? Like you can be into a shoe for like, I don't know, like for me, it's like, for example, a good example for me is like the foam posit. Mm-hmm. I hated that. Well, I didn't hate the shoe, but like as soon as I saw the Comme des Garçons one, I was like, oh, I actually really like that version of it. But I know that people are going to be like, oh, but if I get the shoe, they're going to be like, oh, you didn't like foam posits before, you don't play basketball, you can't, you know what I mean? And it's like all these things, it's like, who made up these rules that like, you can't be into something because you didn't do this? And I think there's a lot of that going on. And I think the female community, because we are quite, like we have ourselves experienced being like left out, we've had to prove a lot, like prove ourselves to the community or whatever. It's like a natural thing that you then see other people and you're like, oh, like how come they're getting recognition, or they're like enjoying that shoe when they didn't do all of the hard work that God like, do you know what I mean? It's like, so it's really hard, but there definitely is like gatekeeping, and I think a lot of it does come from women, and it's just, I wouldn't say everyone, but I think it exists, and I think it's definitely like it's not an enjoyable side of it, but I think overall I really love the female sneaker community.
1,000%. Like at events it kind of becomes more predominant of how close or how well connected kind of the females in the community are.
Absolutely.
That being said, I will say that personally I think I get a lot more support on Herstory Sneakers from men in the community than females. Exactly. Like for example, Ryan, Total Soul. Yeah,
Total Soul, shout out. We love him.
For females in the community.
Absolutely.
So I always find it interesting.
I fully agree with that, and I think it's like, not to like bash our own gender, but I think there is a different dynamic with women than there is with men, and I've noticed that from even a professional standpoint, like going from working at ASOS in a team of all women to working in a team of all men at least, and the working environment is just so much less stressful. It's just like, if you have a problem, you just say it, and then you don't have to worry about someone going and chatting in the bathrooms about you or whatever. And it's the same with anything. I think it is just something that's in our nature, and I don't want to like bash us at all, because I feel like it's not the case for everyone. Like I don't feel like I'm like that, but I feel like there's something that's in like certain people's natures, and it comes through in sneaker community as well as with any female dominated space. And it is a shame that people don't support other women in the space, but then you like talk about it and pretend that you're like really supportive of it. And there's certain people like that who, that's why I said there's like bad eggs who kind of do that. And I would say like, I'm the same, like so many men in the space are so supportive. And actually I've never experienced gatekeeping really from men, I don't think. That's just my own personal experience. So
that's like when people, so for example, when people ask me like, why did you want to start Herstoryinsneakers? And so I don't know why I'm making this about me, but
no, please do. This is your podcast.
SKT.JMake podcast. And it was like, because there's a lot of places that exist, but it's like I never wanted a platform that excludes men completely. Like, I don't want to, I hate men, let's make sneakers about women platform. It's like, because I've never personally experienced that. Like, I'm the same. The guys that I know, like, I know So Love, the master of air, he has never once been sexist or spoken down on a female or thought that she knows less in the community. So it's like, I don't expect that from other guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
definitely.
But for example, with the females, it's like I will see people. Well, I was actually having a rant quite recently, and Jessie Law, bless her heart, was replying to me, was like, no, like she was giving me her side, and then I kind of was like, all right, cool. But it was in regards to, I see a lot of people, for example, they might be like, oh, I love your content, or they'll comment on it and stuff like that. But it's like, and not just my page, so it's not a personal thing. A lot of females, like even Women in Sneakers, Sheikah Mag, Sneaker Sisterhood.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of women doing amazing things, even your own graphics. It's like I'll see people comment on them, or I'll see people be like, oh, I love this. But then they're not trying to go out their way to share that with people or to support them in terms of just pushing them or pushing their other content. So it's like, so necessarily, what do you want to change? Like, are you just saying it so other people can see that you've liked it or commented on it?
Yeah.
Or are you actually trying to change something? Because it's like everybody wants to be the face of it, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yes. This is
by riding the wave. But
yes.
When it comes to supporting the people actually trying to do work, whether it is not even myself, because even I'm very new, like all these people that I speak of, they have existed long before I started this. But it's like, I'm not actively seeing you trying to actually do anything to make them bigger.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. I think you can, it's weird because it's like an Instagram comment, but I feel like sometimes you can just tell, even though it's like words and you've not even been in the person's like presence, but you can tell when it's like authentic and when it's like said through gritted teeth.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Do you know? So yeah, but I think it is just like, that's how you sort the good eggs from the bad eggs. You just kind of have to like constantly focus on the positives and just keep doing your thing, I think, because the real ones will always support. And
1,000%. It is a difficult thing to talk about, especially being a woman, because it's like I've never wanted to be like, oh, girls are like this or girls are like that, or I prefer guys, or a pick me girl, basically. I don't want to do that. I do genuinely think it's just because women have been told by society for years to be in constant competition with each other.
Exactly.
I feel like that's
this is
just
exactly it.
What
it's ingrained. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so true.
But there's definitely there's a lot more support, I would say. Than the negative, which is a positive.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, even when I share the graphics and stuff, it is always like 90% support, and then you get like the odd troll in the comments, and it's either like some random woman or it's a reseller type guy. Oh,
so do you get hate from women?
Yeah, I mean, very rarely. I feel like it is like the odd comments. Like I can't remember what it was last time. I posted that red flags meme, you know, the one that was like about women being lucky that they can buy children's shoes or whatever, and someone like shared it and then wrote, some big fit bitch is behind this or something. I was like, that's so not what this was. Like, you obviously got the wrong end of the stick, but like,
you should have posted a picture of your foot. Like,
actually, like very small fit bitch, actually, but no. But there's some stuff that like people say, and it's obviously like, I think like I posted something weirdly on LinkedIn. I posted about my recent Nike Town pop-up, and some women commented like, in stars, rolls eyes, and I was like, this is LinkedIn, this isn't the place to be like saying these nasty things. Like, I was like, that's so nasty. I just like deleted her comment. I never respond to them either, because I'm just not gonna go there. But it is either like uninformed reseller type guys who are like just assuming anything and then are going to be rude about it, or like sort of that kind of vibe of women. But they are just like salty, and it's their problem, so they're not supporting, and it's like
that big fuck comment.
I know. I was like laughing so much
in my head.
I know. Should change my Instagram name.
Bigfoot bitch.
Oh god, literally.
If she wasn't so established in the sneaker community, she would. Do you think that? How do I ask this question? Do you think that certain pages use the sexism regarding female sneakerheads to their advantage for terms of engagement?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Because this is something that I personally try and toss up in my head. Because it's like they know what comments they're gonna get.
Yeah. What like example of pages do you mean? Like,
I mean,
well, obviously you
no
can't
names,
name them,
no names. But for example, if a page reposts like a TikTok of a girl and she's just got a Jordan 1 collection, and you know that the comments are gonna be like, just start buying Jordan 1s yesterday, or stuff like that, or But I see, do you know what? Like Jordan's example is at least that's specific where she has all Jordan 1s. I see it with like just if a girl has just posted any shoe or any hype shoes and then like her boyfriend bought them for her. Like just in terms of stuff like that.
So do you mean like
do you think that they know what response they're gonna get and they are perpetuating
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. Like, do you mean if like Complex sneakers because I've seen like a time when
for example Complex
they've posted like a picture of a girl in her sneaker closet or whatever, and it's always like, oh, daddy's money bought her those and stuff. I don't know if they consider that or if they're doing it just to like show support, or it's really hard to tell like what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know.
It
is interesting to think if they're like, oh, we know we're going to get nasty comments, but then any social media platform that does that is so irresponsible. Like you should know, and you should be prepped with like I think High Snobiety was a really good one because they when the graphic went out of and like the article all about women in sneakers went out, they were like prepped with really well-informed responses for the trolls, and it was really nice to see them doing that because they were like, we're not going to delete this comment, we're going to inform you. And I think like accounts should be doing that, and if they're going to post something like that, then like it's great because they're like they're supporting, I guess, but they need to be prepared for like not to let this woman get like completely torn apart in the comments.
I guess that's the main part of it is if you're just letting these people run wild in your comment section and you're not saying anything. Exactly. But because I think that they're the people that need to be targeted to change their opinion, because there's like, it's all good and well speaking amongst the guys that we know, or even some of the women that we know to try and change their opinions or educate them of the issues. But if it's not targeting the people that have this mentality, then what's the point of having the conversation?
So absolutely.
Do you want to design any more sneakers?
I think we all do. It's like every sneakerhead's dream. I would love to do a shoe. I'd love to do a shoe without any limitations. Like I think when we did our Air Maxes, like we had to work within kind of strict color combos, and we couldn't like play around with materials that much. And I'd love to do something that was like just go ham. Like I think like what like Sean Wotherspoon and those guys, the Vote Forward guys, got to do, like actually like playing around with different materials, and that was
What silhouette would you do?
Oh my god, it's so hard. I think about this all the time.
I know it's going to be an icon,
but I think I would maybe do a BW, to be honest.
Okay.
I feel like I'd definitely do an Air Max. I don't know. It's really hard. Like I literally don't think I could pick one. I
would do a Jordan 4.
Yes, nice.
If anyone's listening,
Nike. If you're listening. BW. I know.
Hopefully one day.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Let's put it out to the universe. We're both gonna get it. No, I think Air Max for me, but I just don't know which one. Like I think I'd have to do a bit of research into it and kind of figure out get like that one chance to do it.
Because you do a lot of sneaker sketches, I just imagine that you're just there in your own concepts all the time.
I mean, I've got them all in my head, and like sometimes when I can't sleep at night, I'll like just like get like a silhouette, like, and I'll just like kind of, I don't know, like color it in or like and do stuff. I don't know. I'm sitting on my phone and I'm like, I could do this and I could do this for like, I've all like come up with the campaigns and everything for it. Like that's just like my way of like falling asleep at night sometimes. But I just think it's fun. I don't know. Everyone would love to do that, wouldn't they? Like your own proper sneaker, like to the levels of like a Laylee May or Melody Asani, and actually being able to like do that would be really sick. So
hopefully one day.
Fingers crossed.
Is it weird to you when people talk about that you made a shoe with Nike?
definitely. Like when I see people wearing them, I'm like, it's so weird. Like,
yeah, because your mum and sister have a
pair. My whole family have them, and then like my friends all have them, and they like wear them all the time, and I'm just like, I never even wear my own shoe. I think I get like embarrassed sometimes. It's also quite a bright shoe, so I'm like, you can't really rock it with that many things. But
she says wearing a bright pink jumper.
I know, literally. But I tend to go for like more muted colors on my sneakers. So yeah, I don't know. But it is weird. It's surreal still.
Yeah.
Pinch me. Yeah.
Sweet. So what do you want to see moving forward, and what can the people expect to see of Titi Findlay?
Well, in terms of what I want to see, obviously we've spoken about, I just want full size runs, especially on classic silhouettes. I think that's a huge one for me. It's like if you're bringing back a classic, like a really iconic shoe, then give everyone a chance to buy it. If you're going to do the women's exclusives, fine, but like at least give everyone a chance to buy the classics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to see that. And again, just I think like it's already on like a really nice upwards path, but like women are like a huge driving force of sneaker culture now, and I just want that to continue. But I don't want it to just be, again, like we've said, I don't want it to just be about women. Just want it to be like a nice inclusive place for everyone, and welcoming as well, like less gatekeeping, everyone just like letting people get on with just like enjoying their passions. That's ultimately why we're all here at the end of the day. And then in terms of, for me personally, I do have some hoodies coming out with Nike. So obviously continuing with the slogans. So I did the pop-up at Nike Town with the posters, and that was like a sort of first stage of it. And then the next stage is doing these hoodies. And you know, when you go to Nike Town London, you can get all the patches and like customize stuff with patches. So I'm designing patches. So they'll be sitting in Nike Town, and
the graphics you've been teasing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I've been kind of like
got the inside scoop, guys.
I was like, I might as well start like sharing some bits and bobs. So I've been working like doing like a lot of illustration stuff, which I haven't done for ages. So it's been really fun doing that, and then combining that with my graphics, like the words. So yes, that's coming out soon. Very excited.
Do you have a date?
Well, right now we're thinking the end of November, but production and stuff might delay it. So potentially like mid-December if it gets delayed. But yeah, it's been a really hard experience, actually, just purely because, again, it's like that one chance to create something that people will be wearing, and I don't want to fuck it up. I don't know, and I actually did like a first round of drawings and illustrations and submitted them to Nike, and then I've gone back and like slashed all of them now, and I'm like, I hate them, so I'm redoing it all. So
I know that this is your work process, because I've followed, we were following each other during the process of the shoe, so I've got to kind of see the stress and how you handle stress.
Not very well.
No, it's not that it's not very well. I think that you obviously are just a perfectionist in
100%
in your own head, but I think that you need to have the confidence in the fact that everything you have put out, people have loved it. Don't cry.
I hope so. I'm like,
everything that you've put out has gone mad, and it's like, and your social media platform, I think the end of last year or even early this year, I think you're on 7K now, you're like maybe on 12. It's like people like your design, people like what you come up with, so you just have to trust that. Well, you just have to trust that
it's tough.
It'll be good. Just trust that you're wavy.
Oh God, I know. It's really hard though. It's just like, I think design is such a process. I see it from my partner as well all the time. Like he's the same, like everything he creates is so cool, and I'm like, but he hates it. And I'm just like, it's so cool, like just put it out there. And it's just like designers are never happy with what they do, I think. So it's like, I think I'm getting somewhere now where I'm kind of happy with it, but yeah, it's definitely a process. There's always a lot of crying involved.
Yeah, people are
just a very emotional person, but
I just have a lot of feelings.
I know.
That's nerdy.
That's what I need to do, 100%.
Okay, well, do you have any final things you would like to say to the people about where they can catch up with your with your activities and anything that you may have to come?
I mean, just obviously you can follow me on Instagram, and anyone who wants to like get into sneakers or have like any advice or whatever, like I love speaking to people who are kind of like, I've been there, and always happy to give out advice to anyone, whether it's professional or like personal on like community level. Like, just always down for a little chat, and just want to help everyone just enjoy sneakers more and feel welcome, I guess. So yeah.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm glad, because I wanted to kind of get to know why everything was so women centric to you, and I think that we've definitely gone through the journey, and people have kind of seen and heard why that's so important to you. So thank you also for letting the people know that you'll be there to help them.
Yeah.
You guys can follow Titi at Titi_Finley on Instagram.
Yeah. Titi Finley without the underscore.
Oh, without the underscore. My bad. Sorry. I'll link it down below. It'll also be on screen. And thank you guys again for listening to the Herstoryinsneakers podcast with myself, skg.jpg. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back again soon. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me.